guys, welcome to my channel where I share how to live a happy, healthy, independent life as a quadriplegic. My name is Olivia. So today I'm going to show you what I do when I'm out and about and need to go for a wee. So I'll just show you what I carry in my backpack to be able to do so, and then how I kind of try to find a good spot to be able to go pee if I don't find a public washroom. So the first thing is to kind of find a place where you can actually go and do your business. So normally I would go into a public washroom, but this washroom actually has quite a strong spring in it, so I don't want to be stuck in there. So I'm just going to find a private place somewhere outside to be able to go wee. And because I have like a Metrophenoff, like I normally just like sit and pee into a bottle, so I don't have to expose myself too much. Like most of the time when I'm out and taking a wee, people have no idea what the hell I'm doing. So anyways, let's go find another place and then I'll show you how I do this. So I've conveniently found a spot that's just behind the washroom, and normally if I wasn't filming I would be more facing the bushes, so there's just more privacy, but for camera purposes I have to do it this way. So I'm just gonna grab my backpack that's just behind my chair and has what I call my bladder bag that has all my bladder supplies. So I'll open up my backpack that has my bladder bag inside it. And usually like the bladder, like this bladder bag to the bag where I have all my bladder supplies, I keep it like nice and accessible, like it's like the person that I can grab. And I've used, let me put like my backpack beside me, and then I use like a Lululemon bag, like a retail bag that has like nice handles, and it's big enough that I can put a bunch of stuff in it, and it's sturdy enough that it's gonna last me a long time. Now grabbing my pee supplies so I can put them onto my lap. So the first thing will be the lubricant, which you have to make sure that it's water-based and unscented. And I like to have a flip-up lid on it so it's easy to open. And then I just put it usually between my thigh and my fender so it's easy to dip the catheter into it. Then grabbing my pee bottle, and I personally really like the Bladder bottles and use the 28 ounces because it holds a lot of liquid. And they're also like leak proof and has an easy handle to kind of carry. Then grabbing my catheter. So with my catheter, I'll put it close to my tummy in between the bag and my tummy. And I use a male catheter so it's long enough to be able to reach my bladder, but that's going to be very different depending on how you end up voiding. And I also like to use translucent catheters so I can see the consistency of my urine. Then grabbing my wet wipes. So with the wet wipes, just making sure that it's got like a flip up lid on it, just because it's easier to open, especially if you don't have your hand function. Then I personally like to use the Honest Company's wet wipes just because they're more sustainable for the environment. They're also unscented and hypoallergenic. And I usually grab 2 wet wipes out of there. The first one will be to wipe the stomach clean and then wipe my hands, and then the other one I'll use to insert the catheter inside my bladder. And with any of the equipment that I'm using, I'm also just going to put everything down into the description so you can take a look at it if you're interested in taking a look at what I'm using basically. So once I'm done with the equipment that I need on my lap, I'll start storing things back up into the bladder bag to make things quicker at the end to end up packing. Then grabbing my bottle, I'll open up the lid and put the bottle in between my legs so I can put the catheter into it and start cathing. Then organizing the wet wipe, so I'll put one wet wipe on the other side of my lap and open it up, so once I need to grab my catheter, the wet wipe is ready to go. And with that wet wipe, trying not to touch it too much to prevent introducing bacteria into my bladder. Then the other wet wipes that I have on the other side, I'll wipe the stoma nice and clean again to prevent introducing bacteria into my bladder. And then we'll wipe, since I wasn't able to wash my hands because I'm not using the washroom, I'll wipe my hands with the wet wipe as well.
Then grabbing the catheter, and we'll open up the wrapper on the catheter, so holding the plastic in my mouth on one side and then using my two thumbs on the other side to hold the paper to open it up. And we'll grab the catheter and put the spout portion in my mouth, where I will then grab my wet wipe to put around the catheter so I don't touch it with my hands. So wrapping that around, and again, this is just to prevent getting UTIs by introducing bacteria into the bladder. Then with the tip of the catheter that's gonna go inside the bladder, inside the stoma, just putting it into the lube to make things glide inside the stoma a little bit easier and prevent injury. And then I'm gonna put the spout of the catheter inside the bottle, and the tip of the catheter that's gonna go inside the bladder, putting it inside the stoma and pushing it in, again with the wet wipe on each side to push in the catheter so you're not touching it. Then waiting until you actually get a pee inside the bottle, pushing the catheter a little bit further so you can actually like get deeper into the bladder and empty your bladder. Then once I'm all done and I'm kind of waiting to just basically pee, I'll start packing things up, storing things back up into the bladder bag. And with the bladder bag, with the handle, I ended up putting the handle on the brake so the bladder bag stays upright and it's easier to store things. Then I will grab the bottle with the handle on the side and put it on the side, just like resting it on my brake, just to allow like gravity to just empty the bladder properly. And then with the wet wipes, so I'll grab one of the wet wipes and put it just underneath my where my stoma is, so whenever I pull the catheter back out, if anything leaks, then it leaks on the wet wipe and not so much on my pants. So while I finish peeing, I'll just talk a little bit about the pee bottle that I use when I'm out and about. So I usually like to use a pee bottle that's a bit more tinted when I'm out and about, just to be a bit more discreet. That said, when it's dark outside, it's a little bit harder to see when you're done peeing. When I'm at home, I usually use more of a clear bottle. And I'll link the video below to take a look if you want to take a look at what I do when I pee at home. And then also I'll put a card up there if you want to click on that to check that out. So taking the catheter out, I usually put the catheter in between my index and middle finger and then use my thumb to take it out. And again, you can check out my peeing video at home to have more of a close-up of what's going on. So with my used catheter, I will fold it over and tuck it into the bottle, and then store all my empty catheters in there while I'm out and about. And then when I get home, I usually end up emptying the bottle and also emptying my my actual bag. So now closing the lid of the bottle and then wiping the stoma nice and clean. Then we'll grab my bag and put my bladder bottle that's in there that's nice and closed, and we'll find until I find a space to be able to empty it. And then we'll also grab my wet wipes, and I have also the wrapper of the catheter that's in there. And then when I eventually get home, I'll empty all the garbage that's basically inside the bladder bag, and empty the catheters that are inside my my pee bottle. So just starting to pack things back up into my bladder bag and into my backpack. So grabbing the wet wipe that ended up dropping on the floor, then grabbing my bladder bag wipe, put all my bladder, my peeing supplies and stuff in. And then that way, next time I need to use it, everything's kind of ready. And then again, I usually put like all my rubbish, all the stuff that I've used, into my bladder bag. And then when I get home, or if I find a garbage somewhere, I'll use that to be able to empty the bag and empty the bag over. And usually with my bladder bag, when I'm out and about, I usually keep about like 10 to 15 extra catheters each time I'm out. And I usually refill that once I get home. Then grabbing my backpack, so putting again my bladder bag inside the backpack, and I usually keep it on top of everything, so it's easy to grab when I need to go pee. So yeah, putting the bag inside my backpack, and because it's quite full, it's a little bit harder to put in. Just making the room in there, and then once it's in there, I end up just closing it up, and usually have some key rings around the zipper to be able to do it more easily. And then once the backpack is closed, I'll grab the backpack and put it back on my chair, just on the handles. And then next time I find a place to empty my bottle, I'll go empty that. Then putting my jacket back down, so I'll put my hands into my pocket to bring my jacket and my sweater back down, so I'm nice and decent.
And there you go. This is basically what I do to go pee when I'm out and about. So if you think anybody would benefit from something like this, please share it with them. And thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.